and move into our first smaller topic, which will be Doctor Strange 2. We've talked about it a lot here the past 3 weeks. I'm going to pull up a tweet right now. And this is just a rumor. So let's kind of speculate off of this rumor, shall we? Rumor. The events of Doctor Strange 2 will take place 2 years after WandaVision, so about 2 years after Endgame, where we will see Strange face a difficult choice between ending Wanda Maximoff's life to save the multiverse or abiding by his Hippocratic oath and dooming all reality. Okay, so that article basically goes more in depth. Okay, so this is really interesting to me. So I really like this idea of Strange having an eternal character battle because we've talked about it a lot in the show. I don't know what Doctor Strange is going to do in this film. Talked a lot on the show about the possibility of the Illuminati, Wanda being the villain, Shumagorath. I mean, just all of it. And we've all wondered, how does Doctor Strange play into it? And I think the perfect way for Doctor Strange to play into all of it would be him having an internal struggle, and his battle be more internal while Wanda is wreaking chaos on the multiverse. You know, the Illuminati coming in. Like, we could have Strange struggling with certain things, and then in the background is all the chaos with Wanda. Like, Wanda, there's been rumors about Wanda killing a lot of characters. I think she could possibly kill Andrew and Toby. Don't kill me here. I think she possibly could do that. We know Christine Palmer is going to get married with somebody. That is not Doctor Strange. That's going to be an internal struggle. So as we kind of see all the leaks and stuff for this movie, this is how I think it is going to play out. Doctor Strange 2, while it's going to deal with the multiversal aspect, and that's going to heavily involve Wanda, probably the Illuminati coming down to help stop Wanda. Doctor Strange is going to be in the foreground, having all these internal battles with what to do. He's also going to have a midlife crisis, I guess. He's going to lose Christine Palmer essentially to somebody else. He wants his life back. I could see that story kind of happening. And then by the middle or end of the film, Doctor Strange is like, okay, I got to go and save the multiverse. And I could see him fighting people like Supreme Strange. I could see him fighting Wanda. I could see him joining up with the Illuminati. I could see him joining up with some Spider-Man. Like, I could see a lot of things happening in this movie. And Sam Raimi, they've talked about how this feels like an old Sam Raimi horror film, and how it's very fast paced. I feel like this movie's got to be 2.5 hours, like Spider-Man, where we got to cover so much stuff that Strange's battles have to be internal. We're not going to have time for him to battle other characters. Again, the multiversal stuff is going to be there. Strange will deal with that until the end of the movie. The beginning of the movie is going to be more of his internal struggles, his personal life, which I don't mind. It will be a slower pace while we have the craziness of the multiverse going on. I will say that if this is the case, it kind of worries me that Doctor Strange will be overshadowed in this movie, like we've been saying. After all, it is a Doctor Strange movie, and it's a character who's been the same. I like the first Doctor Strange a lot, but it's bland compared to the rest of the MCU. So I hope they do more with his character in this movie, and by him having internal struggles with like his Hippocratic oath or killing Wanda, who he was an adventure with. That would be a perfect storyline. Him losing the love of his life to somebody else. I think that would be really cool. And it would just make a lot of sense to me, because I don't want to just see Strange fight everybody. That's boring. I know we want to see the Wanda and Strange fight. I think that's going to happen, but I don't need that like 3 times in the movie. If it happens once, it happens once. So I am really excited for Doctor Strange 2. I am, though, a little bit worried about the whole Strange being overshadowed in this film, being overshadowed by a lot of other characters. We've talked about Professor X, Wanda, possibly the two Spider-Man um, from the Raimi and Andrew Garfield verse. So I'm worried about that. But overall, still really excited for this film. Yeah, that's all I got for that right now. We get a lot of leaks about it. They just wrapped up, or they're still doing reshoots. I know Wanda, Elizabeth Olsen wrapped up her reshoots, and I think Doctor Strange is still reshooting. I think Benedict Cumberbatch, who plays Doctor Strange, is still reshooting in Canada, the last that I heard. So they're doing a lot with reshoots, I think. I think that's the way Marvel's going. Is they're going to do some stuff with the actual shooting, but to avoid leaks, a lot of stuff in reshoots to do the best they can, because reshoots are not overtly out there. They're done mostly in secret, and because actual shooting we know schedules for, but reshoots we don't. They just contact the actor. And yeah, okay, so yeah, it is time now to talk about Venom, Let There Be Carnage. um so yesterday there was a screening in London for fans, and this was a crap show because people spilled the beans. So we won't get into spoilers quite yet. I'll give a spoiler warning, but warning, like I'm all over the place. Okay, so here are some of the reactions. Hashtag Let There Be Carnage is a roller coaster of gritty, mesmerizing action that only Venom can deliver. That's a good review. It's Tom Hardy's birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, my man. Venom Let There Be Carnage delivers action that only Venom and Carnage can, in brutally awesome, gritty chaos, and I loved every minute of it. That's a good review. It gets a 5 out of 5. I hope it's that good. Was extremely lucky to be able to see Venom Let There Be Carnage last night, and what a wild ride. Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson were amazing as Venom and Carnage, respectively. Do not leave your seat at the end. The audience went crazy. I wonder what that could be. We'll talk a little bit about that. Just saw Venom Let There Be Carnage. Tom Hardy came on stage before the film to remind us to keep our lips sealed about the post-credit scene. But that post-credit scene. My lips are sealed. What a fun evening. In my whole life, I have never seen a whole movie theater react as loud as they did to the Venom 2 end credit scene. Sony delivered. That's big time. Venom Let There Be Carnage is off the charts insane. It is full throttle ridiculous from start to finish. I love the first one, but this ramps everything up to the 11th. And holy bleep, that post-credit scene. If you thought the first Venom film was good, just wait till you see the second. Woody Harrelson did not mess about, and as usual, Tom Hardy was spectacular. Venom Let There Be Carnage fan first screen in Marvel. We were so lucky to see Venom a month before release. Keep our promise to Tom Hardy. Won't get any spoilers from me. Stay for the extra credits. Just saw Let There Be Carnage. You have to go see it, and I got to meet the totally lovely Andy Serkis and Tom Hardy. So yeah, overwhelmingly positive vibes. This one is interesting to me. I was lucky enough to be among the first to finally get to see Venom Let There Be Carnage. I adored it. The first Venom is my favorite of the modern MCU films, and Venom makes all the smart next steps in a very human and beautiful story. Let There Be Carnage is a frenzied mix of buddy romance, Venom and Eddie, and horror. Waste no time, get it down to the business, and not relent. Hardy is on fire, and Harrelson is Carnage. Okay. Somebody tweeted something, retweeted that it's a MCU film. Okay, they didn't. I can't find it. It might have been the earlier one. But they kind of alluded to the fact. Okay. So let's speculate on the post-credit scene. There's possible spoilers here. The stuff, that I have heard and stuff that I am speculating on. It's a mixture of both. If you want to scroll away right now, please do, because this is possible spoiler territory. Stuff that I've heard plus um, speculation. People are saying it's an MCU film in their tweets. Now, why would they say that? Why would they say that it's an MCU film, even though we didn't say that about the first Venom? Nobody was saying that about the first Venom. I don't know if you guys remember, but about a year or so ago, there was a wild rumor that Tom Holland was going to be in Venom 3. You see where I'm going with this? I am pretty confident, also based off of what I heard, it is Tom Holland's Spider-Man that we see in the Venom Let There Be Carnage post-credit scene. That is nuts. I mean, that is bonkers. And first off, a lot of people in these threads were saying they enjoyed the first Venom film. I liked it. It was okay to me. It has a lot of pacing problems, but it fundamentally gets the character of Venom and Eddie right. Their dynamic is fantastic. I don't care for the villain, Riot, or Carlton. I don't care. He's a rich guy who I just don't care. Woody Harrelson is great in everything he's in, so I expect Carnage to deliver. And if people are highlighting that specifically, I love a good villain in a superhero movie. So if he delivers, then that's a chef's kiss for the movie. So that's what I've heard, and let's kind of speculate on what that means. I think No Way Home could explain what's going on. If Venom is in the MCU, we're going to have to get a concrete timeline of when Venom 2 takes place. If it takes place after No Way Home or before it, I'm going to assume after it. And again, you can do a lot of things here. Venom doesn't necessarily have to be away from the MCU. Like, he doesn't have to be in a separate universe because he's in San Francisco. The only thing we've got in San Francisco was Shang-Chi and Ant-Man, two things that do not relate to Spider-Man. So Eddie could presumably show up actually in the MCU, or they could do a multiversal thing where No Way Home can explain how Spider-Man fell and left the MCU. I could see very much that Sony's like, can we have Tom? Tom's there, so they can do what they want. But we can do stories with Venom and Tom, and they can both be in the MCU. So I really think that Venom 3, I don't think they're going to do a Spider-Man movie on it. I think Venom 3 is going to be him facing off with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And I'm so conflicted because I actually want Venom to win. Is that a bad thing for me to say? I want Venom to win. But I don't want Tom to die, obviously, and I don't want Tom Hardy's Venom to die. I want Tom Hardy's Venom to stick around in the MCU. And if we open this avenue, I think he could. I think he could very much stick around and do something in the criminal underworld aspect of the MCU. They could be friends with Spider-Man for all I know. I mean, there's so many signs that add up to Spider-Man being in the post-credit scene here. The report last year about Venom 3 featuring Tom Holland. The MCU, how they're talking about this as an MCU film. Sony Pictures is literally retweeting that. Tom Hardy posted a picture last year on Instagram with his Venom killing Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So it makes a lot of sense to me that the Spider-Man would be in Venom 3. It makes the most sense for a final villain for the Venom trilogy. And I don't think that's the last we see of Tom Hardy's Venom. He loves that character. So I think we'll see that first confrontation in Venom 3, and then subsequently Venom will be in the MCU permanently, played by Tom Hardy, who people were saying is very equatable to Robert Downey Jr. He's synonymous with that role. That's what Tom Hardy is going to be after this movie, as people were saying. When you think of Venom, you think of Tom Hardy. When you think of Iron Man, you think of Robert Downey Jr. And that's what people were saying. So I'm really excited if Venom is in the MCU. I know I posted something the other day in my good friend Darth Choco's comment section about, I hope that Tom Hardy gets to play him in the MCU. I think that possibility is pretty likely now based on what I've heard and what I can strongly speculate on the Venom Let There Be Carnage post credit scene. In a couple weeks, we'll do the 10 questions like I did for Shang-Chi. We'll go over those. We'll see how we did. I don't know much about the plot of that movie yet. I know it's out there. I don't want that spoiled. I don't have the post credit scene spoiled for me word by word. I know the audio's leaked. Don't go online. Don't look for it actively. You'll find it. Don't do it. I just know something.